afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. Is also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, proudly Ghanaian. Telesol, Just a Touch and Makoto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu and Chevy cars. Makoto Parts Ghana with you for the long run. In this edition, former workers of Commenda Sugar Factory cry out in despair as they accuse successive governments of failing to live up to the promise of jobs as the $35 million factory remains idle.
The factory is rusting away. At least the machine should have been painted every 6 months. I'm sure government will spend a lot of money to repair it.
Why spend more money onto it?
But government says it is still looking for a strategic investor to keep the factory busy. We'll bring you more as our visit review factory's metal plates are rusting by the day. Ghana High Commission to the United Kingdom begins registration of Ghanaians ahead of possible voting, but only genuine means of identification will be accepted.
And we are encouraging them to get passports because one basic document for identity will be your passport. Right. So we've been encouraging them and we've been going around the country.
Also, Ghana Education Service begins a review of the entire education curriculum to reduce number of subjects to 5.
We're really hoping to start this academic year, beginning from last month, September. But again, some issues were raised and they had to go back to the stakeholders and do more consultations.
We'll get to hear from some parents as well as students. And in sports,
it's all about the International Week, and Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah and captain Asamoah Gyan have been talking about the team staying focused despite the uncertainty surrounding the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sierra Leone.
And later in this edition,
any economics lecturer can give lectures on the economy.
I hear the incompetent one says he wants to come back.
we take a look at the never-ending battle of words between former President Mahama and Vice President Bawumia.
Oh my God.
All that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And it appears the Commenda Sugar Factory may not be operationalized anytime soon. As Information Minister Designate Kojo Nkrumah says, the Trade Ministry is still yet to get an investor to run the factory. Already, residents of Commenda are predicting that by the time government finds an investor, a huge budget would be allocated for repairs as metal plates in the factory are rusting. They are reminding President Akufo-Addo to keep his word and put the factory to work immediately. Jojo Kobna visited the Commenda Sugar Factory and has more in this report.
In fact, Uncle, oya tete oya yao. Me again nipa. Samu na fight jana.
In fact, I'm frustrated. I'm unemployed. My wife is divorcing me because I can't take care of my family. Every day I walk past this factory, I get angry. Didn't we use money to build this factory? For 2 years, it's puzzling that we can't find investors.
Isaac Kweku Nketia, a resident of Commenda, is angry that the Commenda Sugar Factory, reopened in 2016, remains idle. What upsets him even more is the rusted state of the factory due to inactivity and lack of maintenance. The well-coated and painted metal plates now look brownish, corroding as the day goes by.
The
factory is rusting away. At least the machine should have been painted every 6 months. I'm sure government will spend a lot of money to repair it.
Why spend more money onto it? I know of course financial loss to the state.
For now, sugarcane cultivated to feed the factory are channeled to Akpatashi distillers.
The sugarcane cultivated to feed the sugar factory is now feeding Akpatashi distillers. Frustrated people have taken to drinking.
3 weeks ago, President Nana Akufo-Addo said his government would soon find investors to put the factory to work.
Ministry of Trade and Industry, AirPest strategic investor.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry is still looking for investors. We are reorganizing the operations of the factory.
For the sugar, the type of sugar we can grow here, all those things were not properly organized.
Very soon, you hear something good from us.
But some residents do not find the president's statement assuring.
The investors, because they are politics.
I don't trust the president. I don't live with him at the Flagstaff House. It's just politics. Politicians always deceive us. We vote for them and they fail to honor their promises.
Politicians are more time. What back and some of the dead or the chain, what kind of
While the factory remains closed, it is estimated that sugar worth $200 million is imported to feed beverage and manufacturing industries and for domestic use. Jojo Kobna, Joy News.
Meanwhile, government says it is still looking for a strategic investor to keep the idle $35 million Komenda Sugar Factory busy. Kojo Nkrumah is Information Minister Designate.
It must be stated that government has not said that it will or the state will build these factories on its own. We have insisted consistently that we will work with the private sector, we'll collaborate with the private sector, we'll facilitate the work of the private sector in building these factories. 18 factories have been accredited so far. An additional 50 are expected to be accredited before the end of this year. And this should bring to almost 70 the 1D, 1F projects by the end of this year, 2018. It's not the business of government to be doing business. The business of government is to create that enabling environment and to encourage the private sector to go there. As was mentioned by the Trades and Industries Minister, the Komenda Sugar Factory requires a private sector partner with capitalization that would ensure that, for example, outgrowers, raw materials, etc., are regularly available to feed it. That requires its own funding and the things associated with it. And the ministry is going through the process of finding the necessary investors who will be able to take on that risk and run in that space. And when we have a new update, we'll make it available.
Information Minister Designate Kojo Nkrumah. Now, in a related development, former presidential advisor on corruption and governance, Daniel Batidam, is surprised that Ghanaians still expect government to deliver on the promises such as one district, one factory, and one constituency, $1 million. He was speaking on the Super Morning Show.
Is this not a kind of underration of our intellect when a politician comes to say, despite our knowledge of all that is happening, not only in our domestic environment, but also internationally, they come and say, no, when I come, I'm going to do this and this and that and that. And we actually accept it. For me, that is a measure of a bigger problem than just the politicians. Because, to be honest with you, I don't know why people are asking for their 1 million and their one district and one. Did you really think that that was going to happen? If you did, then you deserve what you are getting, because I did not for one moment wake up and think that any government, it doesn't matter who it is, even if it is established by a spiritual being, is going to come down to Ghana and in 1, 2, 3, 4 years suddenly change our condition, because I know how political economy works.
You heard that the former presidential advisor on corruption and governance, Daniel Batidam. Away from that, genuine means of identification, preferably a Ghanaian passport, will be accepted as proof of citizenship for Ghanaians living in the United Kingdom as the High Commission there begins registration ahead of possible implementation of ROPAL for the 2020 elections. The law was passed in 2006, but past governments have given several excuses for the delay in its implementation. But a recent ruling by an Accra High Court directing the Electoral Commission to operationalize the law in 2020, following a suit by some 5 Ghanaians living abroad, may soon bring it to life. Speaking to presidential correspondent Elton Brobe in London, Ghana High Commissioner Papa Owusu-Ankoma says the processes has begun. He also talks about possible danger for Ghanaians living in the UK without proper documentation as the Brexit plan kicks in.
Electoral Commission is not really government, but as a mission, we're trying to get a register of Ghanaians, and we are encouraging them to get passports, because one basic document for identity will be your passport. Right. So we've been encouraging them, and we've been going around the country, mobile passport. We've been to Manchester, Liverpool, even parts of London, to make the acquisition of passport easier for Ghanaians here. And I'm encouraging even those who are born here, because they are Ghanaians by birth. If they have at least one of their parents being Ghanaian, to get Ghanaian passports. So we are hoping that when RUPA is being implemented, we would have positioned ourselves to get as many Ghanaians as possible to vote.
Coming home as the High Commissioner to this country, I'm sure that your office is inundated with calls from Ghanaians, because clearly this is home to thousands from millions of Ghanaians. Yeah. What has been the issue? I know yesterday we spoke to some of them, documentation, visa issues.
No, I mean the fact is that look, I dare say that one of the major reasons why people in the UK voted Brexit was to take control of immigration. Migration is a big issue.
You have the Ghana High Commissioner to the UK, Papa Owusu-Ankoma, speaking to my colleague Elton Brobe. The Ghana Education Service says it is in talks with stakeholders to review the entire educational curriculum, which will see the number of subjects studied at the basic level reduced. The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, which has been tasked to carry out this review, is expected to complete its work in June 2019. The review will see pupils from the kindergarten, primary to the junior high school level studying fewer subjects, and this is expected to be translated into the final subject examined at the BEC level reduced to only 5. Here is the chairman of the Ghana Education Service, Michael Nsoa, giving a breakdown of what is to be expected.
Of course, for some of us, it has been a worry, because we didn't understand why, when children's minds are not matured, they are made to study 10 subjects. And as they move on, then the subjects are reduce, and so until you get to the university.
Okay.
So for some people in the academia, this has been a concern, just that the way to do it was not there. But now we see it, and maybe we will need to wait and see the outcome, because even the 1987 education reform also realized that there were too many subjects, but again, nothing was done. So it has been something that people have been aware. People who know or who have know-how in curriculum design have always complained, but nothing was done until. We're really hoping to start this academic year, beginning from last month, September. But again, some issues were raised, and they had to go back to the stakeholders and do more consultations.
So what do parents and pupils make of this decision? It's been a mixed reaction from the streets where we've been engaging them.
In fact, I really don't know what the government wants to do. But if they want to reduce the numbers and they think it will help the students, fine. But if reducing it and then taking it out and will not be of help to the student, I don't think it's necessary.
For me, for the first place, I just want to know if it's because of the free SHS. If it's because of that, then it's bogus.
It's some way good, some way bad. And it's good in the sense that now they are reducing it to 4, meaning the child can have more time, or they can study more of the 4, rather than having them be clustered with 9 subjects. But some ways I'm feeling it's a bit bad, because there are certain core things that might be taking out that the child really needs to know.
9 is too much for them, because they are not well mature, especially the brains. I think when they did about 6 or 7, it will be all right. But 9 is too much.
Well, for the 4 like this, I think it will be okay for them, because the books that they are going to buy are going to reduce, and but also reducing that 9 to 4 is going to affect them a little bit.
You had some parents and the students there. Now, the Mental Health Authority says many young people are living with mental health problems following the strain on most families in the country. According to the Executive Director of the Ankerfo Psychiatric Hospital, Kojo Mafobing, today's work demands on parents and the practice of moving children in and out of school with little family engagement are exposing children to stress and vulnerability to drug abuse.
Our current social structure is very, very unhealthy for children. That kind of interaction that some of us got with our parents is now missing in a lot of Ghanaian families, particularly urban families. You are not getting time to know your parents. Your parents are not getting time to know their children. Often when we have people come to the hospital with addiction problems and we mention some of the things that have been going on, how long the person has been using the substance for, the parents are often surprised because you don't have time to know your children. You would say, oh, wait, but they have the weekend. The weekend, you are tired from that long week. Your day starts at 4 and ends at 9 or 10. The weekend is when you sleep. And then Sunday, they're going to church. So even the weekend crowd, they don't get time to know their children and even know each other. Husbands and wives don't even know each other anymore, let alone the children that are suffering as a result of this.
You have the Executive Director of the Ankerfo Psychiatric Hospital, Kojo Mafo Obeng. Now, family and opinion leaders of Moshi Zongo in Kumasi say they will head to court if the police fails to review the cause of death of their 55-year-old relative, Boazo Bawani Leyeng. Boazo was on trial and remanded by a Mamponting court when he died in police cells. His family claims the deceased was beaten and locked up after his arrest, but the police are yet to confirm this. They also claim they know an eyewitness who can confirm Boazo died in cells. They've been speaking to Erastus Asari Donko. Once he joins us, he will give us the very latest on that. And the suspended General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, Niama Komfra, is demanding the immediate resignation of the national executives of the party. This follows a decision by the party to reinstate him as a General Secretary 2 years after his suspension. Niama Komfra was suspended for what the party described as gross acts of indiscipline. In a letter signed by Chairman of the party, Mr. Komfra is given 14 days to confirm his acceptance. Here are extracts of the letter.
The national chairman and leader and chairman of the legal committee recently made efforts to resolve the issue of your interdiction. From all indications, you are no longer interested in resuming your position as General Secretary. Please confirm within 14 days on the receipt of this letter. Failure to confirm will be taken to mean a refusal to continue in your position as General Secretary. Sincerely yours, Professor Edmond N. Daly, National Chairman and Leader, CPP.
Now, but Mr. Komfra tells Joy News he will only accept his reinstatement if the current executives relinquish their positions.
The whole basis of the suspension was illegal. The people who did the suspension knew they were carrying out a sabotaging act. They can't then decide to come at some point 2 years after the event and simply say, come back and take your post. Because nothing has changed. I can walk into party office tomorrow and 6 months down the line, the same action could be taken by the same group of people. And so my view is we need to start a new process. We need the entire leadership to step down. We need an interim management committee which will stay affairs of the party and take us to Congress. Because clearly, you know, with the party, with what has happened, the party has been rendered impotent, ineffective. It's there for all to see. We are in an insignificant place in Ghanaian politics. Nothing has happened, you know. So I don't want to necessarily just go back and associate myself with such failure. You know, the current leadership of the party is the worst we've had in the history of our party. And I don't want to associate myself with such failure. We need a new group of people, credible people with integrity, who can stay affairs of the party.
You heard that Niyama Komfra there outlining his conditions for which he would come back as General Secretary of the CPP. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Stories you've missed so far. Former workers of Commander Sugar Factory cry out in despair as they accuse successive governments of failing to live up to the promise of jobs as a $35 million factory remains idle. We've also heard that the Ghana Education Service is to begin the review of the entire education curriculum to reduce number of subjects to 5. And later in the bulletin,
any economics lecturer can give lectures on the economy.
I hear the incompetent one says he wants to come back.
We'll take a look at the never-ending battle of words between former President Mahama and Vice President Bawumia.
Oh my God.
You're welcome back to the Midday News, and it's time now for sports. Ridwan Ibrahim Asante has that.
My God.
Oh my God.
I like that. So we're expecting a communique from FIFA whether Sierra Leone will be given the green light to face the Black Stars on Thursday in a 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier at the Baba Yara Stadium in Kumasi. Now, the world's governing football body has suspended the Sierra Leonean FA for government interference, but the country has appealed the decision after the disputing parties met yesterday in the capital, Freetown. Nonetheless, the Black Stars are staying focused. They've already held a training session in Kumasi. Let's hear from head coach Kwesi Appiah.
From day one, we've said to ourselves, look, let's keep on preparing unless we get a letter from FIFA or CAF, which we've had nothing. So our concentration has been, preparing towards the game. You always concentrate on what's next. And all our preparations has been towards the game against Sierra Leone. So we're not looking back, we're looking at the games ahead of us.
And it looks like the same mantra is being shared by Captain Asamoah Gyan making a return to the team. For him and his teammates, they are keeping their noses to the grindstone.
No, we're not distracted at all. The preparation is going on as planned, so everything is fine. We're more focused on the game. If it happens, we will take it. If it doesn't, we will accept it in good faith and then move on.
Captain Asamoah Gyan. Day 2 of training happens today at the Baba Yara Stadium. We'll still be there with our cameras and also our recorders to bring you the details of how the Black Stars are preparing. More importantly, if Sierra Leone will be in town for the qualifier. Back to you, MFA.
Thank you very much, Ridwan. Let's head to the Ashanti region now, because police in Kumasi have arrested 2 members of the pro-NPP vigilante group Delta Force. It comes after members of the group disrupted a meeting convened by MP for Tafo Pankrono, Anthony Akotose, last Sunday. The police is addressing the media on this matter now. Let's go live on the line and speak to my colleague Kwesi Deborah of Love FM. Kwesi, can you confirm the arrests?
Yes, MFA, I can confirm that 2 people have been arrested, and their names are Paul Atau, and he's 49, and Richard Yalberto, and he's 51, and they were picked up at Tafo Pankron. And according to the police, they've been charged with conspiracy to commit crime, to wit rioting, and also rioting, and soon they will be arraigned before court. MFA.
What more have the police been saying about this particular incident?
Well, they couldn't give further details because, according to them, they will be arranging a meeting very soon with the media, so they couldn't go further. But what we've been told now is that they've been officially been charged, and soon they'll be arraigned before court.
Love FM's Kwesi Deborah, but let's stay in the Ashanti region a while longer, because police in Ifidrasi have arrested 6 people suspected to be involved in the killing of a student of Ifidrasi Senior High School. Among those arrested are 4 schoolmates of the deceased and another one who was dismissed from the school. Ohiming Teria has been following the story and joins us on the line. Give us more details, Ohiming.
Thank you, MFA. The late Derek Ajay was stabbed by a sharp object whilst he and his friend Douglas Obin scaled the school wall last week to watch a football match outside campus. Police say he died a few minutes after being admitted at the Ifidrasi Government Hospital. And afterwards, police increased their search and also whilst investigating the case. And the investigations led to the arrest of 6 suspects. 4 of them are all students of Afijase Senior High School, and 2 others who are on the run. Afijase Police Commander Superintendent Afaribediaku tells me police have increased their search and doing everything possible to ensure they arrest 2 other suspects who are said to be the kingpins of the group and bring them to book. According to him, the students conspired and planned on campus to rob the 2 students and any students outside campus on the day of the incident, MFA.
But have we heard from the parents of this young boy just yet?
Not yet. As of now, we are at the police station trying to cover the assignment here. From here, we'll make efforts to speak to the parents involved.
Thank you very much, Ohimin Teria there, following that development. But let's come back here into the studios. And it started as a mere political campaign strategy, only aimed at outdoing one another in the lead up to the 2016 elections. That's when you heard heated exchanges and name-calling between then-President Mahama and NPP running mate Mahmoud Bawumia. Fast forward to almost 24 months into the administration of the NPP, where Bawumia is now Vice President and Mahama staging a possible comeback. It doesn't look like the exchanges will stop anytime soon. In the following report, Manasseh Azuriawene takes a look at this ongoing war of words between the two.
Once upon a time, 2 men from the northern region towns of Bole and Walewale met on the 2 opposing sides of Ghana's political battlefield.
Our economy from the throes of economic mismanagement.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was partnering Nana Akufo-Addo to unseat President Mahama. President Mahama fired back, saying he would not take driving lessons from a man who had never held a steering wheel.
They told all their communicators, anytime you mention Mahama or NDC, say incompetent. And so you hear Bawumia and say incompetent Mahama administration, incompetent. You've never held any responsibility anywhere near presidency before. You don't know what it is like to be president.
The elections came and the positions of the 2 men changed. Dr. Bawumia now had the requisite qualification to criticize Mahama.
Former President Mahama can now accept criticism from me, since by the grace of God I have now occupied the office of Vice President of the Republic.
But it was John Mahama who would have the upper hand.
It is easier to give political lectures on the economy than to manage the economy. Any economics lecturer can give lectures on the economy, but not every lecturer can manage the economy.
Well, it appears Dr. Bawumia has made a vow to himself never to let any of John Mahama's jabs go without a response.
I hear the incompetent one says he wants to come back. He wants to come and do more damage. As if he didn't do enough damage. Well, we are waiting for him.
Dr. Bawumia did not mention a name in his response, but the chief speakers say Ekutiabia Niminura. As the race to election 2020 gains momentum, and there's a possibility that Dr. Bawumia and John Mahama will sometime in future be direct contenders for the presidency, the best or worst of the 2 is yet to come.
Meanwhile, office of the former President Mahama has been reacting. In a statement, Mr. Mahama's office says Dr. Bawumia has brought the office of Vice President into disrepute. The statement adds that it is sad to note that after nearly halfway through the 4-year term of the government, of which Dr. Bawumia is a Vice President, he still lacks the presence of mind to appreciate the distinction between his role as Vice President and that of his propagandist running mate days on campaign platforms. That's excerpts of that statement issued. And it's time now to check out what's trending on social media, and the fellow October born is in the studio. What's trending, Max?
Sierra Leone is trending, and at Chaplain 70 says, As a result of a FIFA ban, that Sierra Leone fixture against Ghana should not hold. And at Gaft, Ayala says Black Stars begin training in Kumasi ahead of Thursday's African qualifier with Sierra Leone. And John Lennon is also training because it's his birthday today. And speaking about birthday, it's my birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday in advance.
Please, I want it tomorrow, not today.
Okay, I'll give that to you. And there's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more news also here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Emefa Apau. Thanks for your company. Do enjoy the rest of the day.
It's your day off and you end up looking after the baby while your wife goes off to work. You realize you have no idea how to change a diaper. So you video call your wife.
Hello, darling.
Hello?
Kojo, is